So who do I actually represent as an end user? Land surveyors, mobile LiDAR users. I do run a mobile LiDAR program for GPI. SUAS pilots, particularly for photogrammetric mapping. GIS and asset management providers, and geocachers. Anybody here not know what a geocacher is? Good, I don't have to go through that then. It's 300 million worldwide, 400,000 active users in the United States. As far as what kind of equipment I use, or what vendors I rely on, it's the surveying equipment, the surveying software, GIS and CAD. I kind of lump them in the same category, they're similar. Transformation software, geodetic control adjustment, which I do see as different than transformation. This is actually stuff like a star net, where you're actually doing the least squares adjustment, coming up with an end value and analysis of your control. Mobile LiDAR vendors and UAS vendors. I frequently use the NSRS to establish geodetic control. I believe firmly that any project needs to start with a good geodetic foundation. I believe that is the most important part of what we as surveyors begin our workflow from. We also transform legacy data from one projection to another. That doesn't happen that frequently, but it is something that we do need and we do rely upon. We do collect data points using GNSS, and I place that as its own entity because with increasing frequency, we're not using traditional total stations. We're going out with GPS, GNSS, and we're locating features. So we need the NSRS and all the solutions to be reliable for that. We navigate the points of interest for investigation. Now, this is not navigating like getting in your car and drive to a site. This is navigation where we're hoping to find a point within a foot or so, particularly for boundary control or control points themselves, especially ones that haven't been recovered for some time. So we are looking for at least a foot or a decimeter accuracy when we're doing our investigation aspect of things. Now, beyond investigation, surveyors are actually looking for 1 centimeter accuracy. We do perform spatial and temporal analysis. For those not familiar with the term, basically it studies over time for motion monitoring and changes. And we establish tidal elevations, which is important for us for boundary determination. Almost every state that has some kind of tidal boundary uses either high mean water or low mean water as the basis for the boundary, where the state or federal lands begin and where the private ownership begins. The geospatial projects or products and services I frequently use include geodetic control databases, post-processing software, that would be like your Opus, least squares adjustment software, and data transformation software. So the challenges and opportunities, this is the part where I wanted to speak the most. Using today's NSRS, real-time accurate grid-to-ground computations is a challenge. Now that's something that people who are familiar with looking for grid-to-ground and know the tools to use can achieve, but I'm going to speak bluntly for a moment. The average surveyor does not deal with grid-to-ground, and if they attempt to, they usually do it poorly. Now, from my perspective, a lot of that has to do with the ease of which they can obtain that information. Those of us doing more advanced forms of surveying have to use several tools to get the correct answers on multiple aspects of the NSRS. So I do believe that the industry can make it easier for the average surveyor to obtain this information. In that regard, transforming data sets from one projection to another can be a challenge. Depends on whose software you're using. CourseCon is the go-to. CourseCon, though, is dated in its interface. A lot of times we wind up using multiple packages to go through different iterations of the data. Between the least squares, between the transformation, between the final use. It would be nice to have a more consistent platform. In that regard, standardization for data transformation. And I was really happy to hear some of this talk this morning, because I heard the term API come up a few times. I'm sure everybody in this room knows what that is. So it is good to hear and encouraging that there are going to be APIs developed moving into the future. And point-specific metadata. I believe we're quite a ways beyond the point of point number, northing, easting, elevation, descriptor. I believe there has to be more data behind that, including the errors. So that is something that is lacking in most all the software packages that are available to us. So after the NSRS modernization, some of the concerns are very similar. Again, real-time accurate grid-to-ground computations. Managing the data sets before and after an epic change. Related to all this grid-to-ground, one thing is going to add another layer of potential complexity based on some of the discussions I've been part of recently, is that there may be multiple projection zones or layers for the state plane coordinates. So you may have a statewide state plane solution, you may have a specific zone within the state plane, and you still have your standard grid-to-ground issues. So that kind of all goes into the idea of my next point here, which is real-time geodetic adjustment based on new data endpoints and standard geodetic modeling for data points. I believe that a geocentric model for all data points is really the base so that any of these solutions can be provided on the fly. In that regard, again, I was encouraged by the idea that there may be APIs to help have this as a more standard format. And lastly, again, point-specific metadata. Again, I'm speaking from the surveying end of things. A lot of surveyors are very poor at the idea of metadata. They're not exposed to it. Those that use GIS are more familiar with it. A lot of surveyors don't. They use standard CAD. So metadata is something foreign to them, and it's something I believe that really needs to be part of the future of all our data collection. Thank you.